The A220 is Airbus's newest and most advanced airliner. However, it wasn't developed by the company, instead by Bombardier as the C-Series. Nonetheless, it's the newest clean-sheet aircraft sold by Airbus today, and it's one of the most innovative aircraft in production. Carbon composites make up roughly 46% of the plane's weight, and the plane features an advanced aerodynamic design. The A220 has always seen moderate but steady sales, but under the management of Airbus, the type's success has increased. 2022 and 2023 were among its best sales years ever, but then 2024 saw more cancellations than orders. So, with rise and fall being a popular type of video, is the A220's popularity on a downward trajectory because of its persistent engine issues? Let's look at the situation for today's video. To make a long story short, the A220 has not fallen. It has risen greatly since Airbus's takeover, but its early superstar status has been challenged by persistent engine issues which will hopefully go away one day. Engine issues are not the fault of the airframe maker, but when an aircraft type is tied exclusively to one engine type, the problem is virtually inseparable from the aircraft. In 2025, the A220 appears to be selling once again, with future order prospects appearing bright. While the A220 isn't nearly as successful as the A320neo family, it still received over 900 total orders, which isn't too bad. Reviewing the type's origins, the A220 was originally developed by Bombardier as the C-Series, consisting of two models, the CS100 and the larger CS300. Bombardier had studied the concept of a larger 5-abreast airliner to slot above its CRJ regional jets since the early 2000s, and after some uncertainty regarding the viability of the program, it formally launched the C-Series in 2008. The CS100 was to slot above the CRJ 1000, while the CS300 would compete directly with the Airbus A319-100 and Boeing 737-700. Initial entry into service was targeted for 2013. The CS100 ended up entering service in 2016 with Swiss, while the CS300 entered service later the same year with Air Baltic. In 2017, facing general financial struggles and with a 300% tariff shutting the aircraft out of the lucrative US market, Bombardier reached an agreement with Airbus to sell a 50.01% stake in the aircraft program. Airbus paid $1 Canadian, assumed no debt or liability, and later bought out Bombardier's remaining stake in the program, while also rebranding the C-Series as the A220. Later rulings by the Department of Commerce removed the 300% tariff on the A220, and Airbus opened an additional final assembly line alongside other company facilities in Mobile, Alabama. One of the major reasons behind the A220's competitiveness is that it's a clean-sheet airliner. Because of this, Bombardier was able to design a wing and fuselage that is more aerodynamic than the decades-old designs used by rivals. The fuselage and wings are primarily made out of carbon composite materials, lowering the aircraft's weight and boosting fuel efficiency. The most crucial aspect of an aircraft's fuel efficiency is the engines. Here, the jet uses the Pratt & Whitney PW1500G, a variant of the PW1000G family. The PW1000G is a geared turbofan engine, meaning that it uses a gearbox to allow the fan and low-pressure compressor to each move at their own optimal speed, rather than at the same speed. The PW1500G also has a bypass ratio of 12.5 to 1, one of the highest ever, which allows it to be more efficient and quieter. All of this was true when the plane was called the C-Series, but one of the major concerns over the jet was product support and a questionable second-hand market, seeing as how it was a new size category of airliner sold by a smaller manufacturer. With Airbus now in control, the company is able to more effectively sell the jet as part of its lineup, and it has a much larger support network than Bombardier. Since the Airbus takeover, sales of the A220 have more than doubled. Of the two variants, the Dash 300 is by far the more popular version, accounting for nearly 88% of A220 sales. When the aircraft engines are operating without issue, operators love the Airbus A220's fuel efficiency, while passengers praise its rare level of passenger comfort. However, nearly a fifth of the world's A220 fleet is currently grounded due to engine reliability issues, and this is where the A220 has quote-unquote fallen in terms of reputation. The PW1000G has been one of the most troubled engine programs in recent years, but while the Airbus A320neo also offers the CFM LEAP 1A as an engine option, the Airbus A220 only comes with the PW1500G. This means that the A220 is severely impacted by issues with this engine. For example, Swiss has decided to place its entire fleet of 9 A220-100s into storage in order to move engines to the A220-300 fleet. Egypt Air retired its entire A220 fleet in 2024, primarily due to the high costs that resulted due to engine issues, and Air Austral, which has 2 of its 3 A220s grounded, is set to remove its A220 fleet in early 2026. It's not just the A220, as aircraft in the Embraer E2 and Pratt & Whitney-powered A320neo families are also being grounded due to engine problems. But a lot of attention has gone to the A220 due to how many have entered service. It also doesn't have any other engine options. The PW1000G has been experiencing premature wear and cracking in several components. The lower on-wing time has greatly increased downtime and maintenance costs. The length of some repairs as well as global supply chain issues is what is resulting in the groundings, as airlines are having difficulty obtaining parts. This is leading Swiss, for example, to siphon engines from the A220-100 fleet to keep the more economical A220-300s flying. And so, naturally, Airbus's current focus is on making the A220 program profitable before any major investment. The aircraft is expensive to build, in part because parts and production contracts were negotiated with Bombardier, a smaller, less financially stable manufacturer. Airbus is currently working on increasing the A220's production rate to 14 per month, which would greatly boost the program's finances. Of course, the A220 also has to keep selling to make the production boost sustainable. Rumours have long existed of an Airbus A220 stretch, even before Airbus acquired the program, typically being labelled as either the A220-500 or the A221, and the CS500 before the Airbus takeover. The aircraft would squarely face off against the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and Airbus's own highly popular A320neo. If the plane retains most of the capabilities of the current variants, then it would likely become the most popular A220 variant, as a stretch of the aircraft would lower its per-seat costs. It's this type of future development that could help the A220 recover its image, of course, in addition to fully fixing engine issues. There's no doubt that the A220 has the potential to be a great plane, but Airbus/Pratt & Whitney really need to solve the engine issue. For the former, it could mean developing a second engine option through another manufacturer like Rolls-Royce or CFM. This would be a long-term project and would not immediately help existing A220 customers. But for the latter, Pratt & Whitney, the supply chain is in desperate need of fixing and strengthening so that defective parts can be swapped out faster to have fewer aircraft on the ground. But what do you think? Would you say the A220's reputation has fallen in recent times? And if so, how long do you think it'll take Airbus to recover from this? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.